Ford has a new Mustang, Toyota has a new Camry. Using some historical data, I'll tell you who is more likely to have a successful 2024 season. How goes it, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. If you love all things NASCAR, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button. The season is right around the corner. You won't want to miss a thing. Lots to get to today. Let's begin with Legacy Motor Club. I would argue no NASCAR Cup Series team has had a more productive offseason than Legacy. They just announced a major sponsorship deal with Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. Advent Health is on board. Carvana is back with Jimmy Johnson, who will make 9 starts this year. John Hunter Nemechek joining the team. Obviously, the team is switching from Chevy to Toyota, where they'll become a key partner organization. Matt Kenseth is on board as sort of a competition advisor. I'm probably missing some changes. Today, the team announced they have signed Trevor Bayne to be the team's new driver optimization leader. According to their press release, Bayne will work closely with Matt Kenseth to help prepare Legacy Motor Club's young drivers, both from a data analysis perspective and also a fitness perspective. What an odd combination. And I understand racing is a business, but I can't help but think back to 2017 when Eric Jones was brought in to replace Matt Kenseth at Gibbs, and then the very next year, Matt Kenseth was brought in to somewhat replace Trevor Bayne at Roush. Now, all three are working closely together with a brand new team helmed by Jimmy Johnson. What the heck is going on? Anyway, exciting for Trevor Bayne. Glad to see him still involved. You probably saw Corey Heim in that first graphic I showed you. Legacy Motor Club also announced today that they've signed Corey Heim to not only be the team's simulator driver, he'll also be Legacy Motor Club's reserve driver. He's also apparently 2311 Racing's reserve driver, so if something unfortunate were to happen to one of the Cup Series guys, Corey Heim could very well get some next-gen experience this year. I've been a big Corey Heim fan since at least early last year. I just think he has it. He looks like a Cup Series driver to me. The way he carries himself in interviews. I know some people don't like how he handled things at Phoenix at the end of the year. I honestly don't blame him for that. Corey Heim looks like a future Cup Series star to me. And if you look at his results in trucks last year, first full-time year, 19 top 10s in 22 starts. That's crazy. In trucks, it can be hard just to finish those races sometimes, let alone have 12 top 5s in a single season. I'm a big Corey Heim fan. Good pickup, good signing from Legacy Motor Club. If you've watched a lot of my recent videos, you'll know that I have very high expectations for Legacy Motor Club this year. Really all of Toyota. I've picked 7 of the 8 full-time Toyota drivers to make the playoffs this year. I believe the new Toyota Camry will make a huge difference. Toyota's getting a new Camry, Ford is getting a new Mustang, Chevrolet, for at least one more year, we'll stick with the Camaro. No significant changes there. I'm really curious to see how exactly the new Ford and new Toyota stack up against the old Chevy. The new Ford has those sharp angles, those flared front fenders. The Toyota Camry has sort of a hammerhead style front nose. At least that's what a lot of other folks have called it. I read an interesting article earlier today from Jim Utter at motorsport.com. I'll link the full piece down in the description below. He included some interesting quotes from Toyota and Ford executives who both sound, let's say, cautiously optimistic about 2024. David Wilson of Toyota Racing Development liked what he saw during the off-season test at Phoenix last month. He told motorsport.com, quote, "We had 2 cars on track with our new body. I think we were fastest every session. We did a couple little mock racing runs, and Christopher Bell went from the back to the front. When he was in front, he gapped the field. It's the only data point we have, and everyone felt good." However, it's noted in this article that both Toyota and Ford had to submit their redesigns way before NASCAR finalized the 2024 rules package. During that test in December, remember, NASCAR introduced a simplified rear diffuser, a different rear spoiler. Cars are expected to have even less downforce at short ovals and road courses this year. Those changes were only confirmed in the past few weeks. So for months, Toyota and Ford were kind of flying blind when designing their new Cup bodies. Richard Johns, Ford's NASCAR head, said, quote, "The actual package, we didn't see that coming. We didn't know where it was going to go until we got to Phoenix. Not having that information, we couldn't chase that in the design. We feel like we're in our optimum spot with what we got, but when packages change, we have to adapt and evolve. David Wilson of Toyota echoed similar comments, so both Ford and Toyota, despite having new cars, were kind of thrown for a loop this offseason. I'm sure they expected some sort of last-minute rule change. That's pretty common this day and age in NASCAR, but they didn't know exactly what. It's hard to design when you don't know what the rules are going to be. So cautiously optimistic. I guess that's the words I'm using to describe Ford and Toyota right now. But like I said, I'm very high on Toyota specifically. Why? Well, if we look at recent history, and I know things have changed quite a bit in just the past few years, but when Ford last switched from the Fusion to the Mustang, that was from 2018 going into 2019, Ford won 10 races that year. They had won 19 races and the series championship the year before. So when switching to the Mustang originally, Ford definitely saw at least a slight decline in performance. Now, it's worth noting that between 2018 and 2019, NASCAR radically changed the rules package. Remember, 2019 saw the debut of the 550 horsepower high drag package. A very radical shift. So can't put all of Ford's drop-off on the new Mustang. That would be unfair. But now let's talk about Toyota. The last time Toyota completely redesigned the Camry, it was in 2016 heading into 2017. Toyota won 16 races in 2017. 14 of those wins came in the second half of the year. Martin Truex went on to win the series championship. That's why I'm so high on Toyota this year. The last time they made a significant change to the Camry, it took them a few months, but when they figured it out mid-season, they caught fire. Toyota, the back end of 2017, was virtually unstoppable. I would not be shocked if something similar happens here in 2024. But again, it's worth noting a lot has changed since 2016, 2017, 2018. Obviously, the next gen car is different. Furniture Row Racing doesn't exist. Now you have 2311 Legacy Motor Club. On the Ford side of things, RFK, Roush, wasn't any good in 2016, 2017. RFK is relevant again. That could help Ford out quite a bit. Penske has won back-to-back Cup Series titles. So a lot has changed, but I like to use as much data as I possibly can. And looking at some of that recent historical evidence, as flawed as it may be, as incomplete as it may be, it suggests Toyota is going to figure things out this year and be deadly, especially by the second half of the schedule. Now you know why I expect such big things from Toyota this season, but give me your take down in the comment section below. Do you expect Toyota to perform well this year, or do you think they could fall flat on their face? Got a new team coming in, TRD will be spread a bit more thin. They may not be able to keep up at first. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Now, David Wilson of Toyota, he spoke to a bunch of reporters earlier this week, but The Athletic ran a good story that included some of Wilson's comments about the possibility of adding more horsepower to the NASCAR Cup Series. Wilson said, quote, "We'd like to see better racing, and the path to that, we're open to about anything. If the consensus is we need to put the power back up, then we're on board." Boom, it's official. Now Toyota has said they can up the horsepower. We already know about Roush Yates saying, upping to at least 750 wouldn't be too hard. Chevy seems on board. We've got a consensus. Ford, Chevy, and Toyota all on board with upping the horsepower a bit if need be. That's great, right? Well, unfortunately, this article goes on to explain that just upping the horsepower isn't as easy as it sounds. This article includes a quote from NASCAR's Brandon Thomas, who explains that increasing the horsepower would force NASCAR to completely redesign key elements of the next-gen car. And keep in mind, late last year, Tyler Reddick said he did some work in the simulator and feels that just upping the horsepower a little bit isn't enough. It would take a huge, massive, unprecedented horsepower increase to actually make a difference. That does not sound feasible or realistic at the moment. What is more realistic are more aero changes, simplified rear diffuser, different spoiler we talked about a moment ago. Softer tire compound, Goodyear's continuing to work on that. That's encouraging. But as a result, if we do see changes to how cars race at short tracks and road courses this year, those changes will likely be very gradual. A complete redesign of the next-gen car does not fit into NASCAR's current cost-cutting philosophy, which, I think back to Denny Hamlin's comments from like a couple years ago now, where he said, we need to stop talking about cutting. Cutting does not equal growth. I agree with Denny Hamlin, but in some instances, there just may not be a choice. Could we see the horsepower bumped up to 750 from where it is now, around 670? Maybe. Maybe we could do that without a total redesign of the next gen, but would that be enough? At least some folks don't seem to think so. It's a tricky spot. I thought last year the road courses and short tracks by and large looked at least a little better than they did in 2022, so hopefully that continues on into 2024. So I guess that's my reaction to David Wilson and Toyota's comments. It's just way more complicated than it feels like it should be, but reality is reality. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Once again, got a lot of great content coming your way as soon as the season begins. And a huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, folks. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode.